Hey everyone, welcome to this new episode of the Wellness Podcast. In this episode, we discussed about self doubt. In today's world, we used to do doom scrolling a lot. Many people are now habitual to Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and other applications. So, when you talk about that, we create our own virtual identity. We compare ourselves, the people who are above in terms of materialism or personality. Then we used to self doubt ourselves. We used to complain that we are not good enough. Maybe we find other way out. Maybe we weren't aware about what exactly is happening with us. In this call, we discussed about self doubt in depth. We also discussed about LGBTQ community, what concerns the community face, what are the struggles about it. This episode is going to be very special. If you are facing self doubt or identity crisis, if you're going through that, this episode is for you.
Hey Sakshi, how are you?
Hello, good afternoon. I am doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, thank you for accepting our invitation for this podcast. Happy to have you here.
Likewise.
So, moving further, would really like to discuss about self-doubt, self-acceptance, and internal journey. So, multiple people are struggling with themselves. They are kind of in dilemma or in a loop or an inner struggle to define themselves. They are not able to find what they love. They are not able to find happiness internally. So they are just digging inside themselves again and again. So why internal struggle is so hard and self-doubt and self-acceptance exist, first of all. So,
Right, and it also depends on people's self-esteem because as a psychologist, when I have clients who often talk about not believing themselves, or a lot of times they have been through experiences which are very bad, like abuse or any sort of trauma. And from that point of time, they start to develop very negative view about themselves or the world. So when people have low self-esteem, when people have low self-worth, low self-compassion, so in that time they start to even look at themselves in a negative light or any opportunities or any worldview. And sometimes we feel like society fosters that thing. And I feel like we also hold ourselves back from reaching our potential, our true selves. Because if you've read about humanistic psychology, it tells you that all humans have a tendency, like they have the potential to become their highest selves. That's what the theory believes. So yes, people with lower self-esteem, with a lot of self-doubt, they will have like they will struggle a lot to accept themselves. So for example, let's take a situation. There's this person who got a very good job opportunity, right? And
hmm,
it's paying them all right, paying them well. And उनको कभी ऐसा कुछ मिला ही नहीं है कि oh my God, this is my first time I'm getting a job in this location and it's this company. But despite having enough experience or their skills are good, they can operate the software or they can communicate in this way. They choose to not go ahead. Why? Because simply I don't believe in myself. What if I mess up? Or I don't think I'm worth it. This place is too big for me. This is a very big company, and I don't want to disappoint them because I'm not very capable of handling this responsibility, right? So when someone has self-doubt, low self-esteem, this is very common, and a lot of us, I feel like a lot of us have been through this at some point in our life, and especially when you're going through a life transition, like adolescence to adulthood, or from school to college, or from graduation to trainings, internships, placements. You face this very often, and it will also foster competition. And competition, kaisa, it's up to you. It's going to be either positive or it's going to be negative, right? And that will affect your self-esteem more. And if it's negative, then you're going to look at yourself in a bad like कि hey मेरे friend को इतना लाख का package मिल गया and मुझे नहीं मिला. I know I'm unemployed. My friend got a job through connections. And if it's positive competition, then you'll encourage each other, right? Okay, yes, take this job. If you got the job, you can take it. And it's okay if I'm not employed. I'll try more, and what's meant for me will find me. So that's how self-esteem plays a role in today's situations. And it's very hard to build self-esteem, I feel like, when people struggle because वो बचपन से आ
Hmm.
रहा है.
Right. It comes through, you can say, the whole flow, especially what you have been taught internally in your childhood. So, can we just define self-esteem in just one single line? If you think of self-esteem, what it actually it is.
Self-esteem has many definitions, but to put it simply, it's believing yourself, like how much you can do, how capable you are of something. That's self-esteem. For example, if a person has high self-esteem, they will think that, okay, I can face an audience of 200 people to deliver a speech about any topic. I can contest in elections as a political candidate if I'm into politics. I can manage the country. I can lead my organization as a manager or as a
Hmm.
chief. Someone with lower self-esteem will turn down big opportunities. They tend to procrastinate for exams because they feel like मैं fail ही होने वाला हूँ. What's the point of studying anyway? They tend to not get into healthy environments, healthy relationships, and tend to avoid as a pattern. So,
Understood. What depression is? What exactly depression is? Because many human beings usually say it very randomly, यार depression हो गया है, बहुत depression feel हो रहा है. So is it so casually driven or like exactly what depression sounds like?
sadness and depression are two different things. First
Hmm.
of all, sadness is something we face daily in our lives. Not daily, but commonly in our lives. For example, sadness can also be that I missed my train by 5 minutes. My train chali gayi. Or if I specifically go to a bakery, which is thoda far, and I want a specific type of cheesecake, but the cheesecake sold out, I'm going to be sad. Or if my friend cancelled plans to go out, I'm going to be sad. That is very normal. If my exam didn't go well, if my parents yelled at me, or if I missed out on something, that sadness is very common. If someone passes away, if I lose a job, if anything unfortunate happens, that is sadness. Sadness कैसा होता है ना? It's just temporary. It lasts for if something happens, आप कितना दिन तक sad रहोगे? 2 days maximum. 2 days. चलो 3 days.
Hmm.
But depression is something that has to be diagnosed. Depression थोड़ा सा clinical हो जाता है. Depression means that the sadness has been prolonged. A- And the period for that, typically what we take is minimum 2 weeks for depression. And depression में कैसा होता है ना, you start to neglect your hygiene. You stop washing your hair. You find it very hard to even brush your teeth sometimes. And even to take a bath, it's very hard to even take a bath, to clean yourself, to clean your own clothes, मतलब change करना clothes. And if you used to work out, if any workout, not gym, but also strolling वगैरह, you stop doing it. You just simply lack the motivation to feel like अरे यार मुझे मन नहीं कर रहा है करने का. वो motivation ही चला जाता है. And if you're employed and if you have work at school also at college, वो frequency बहुत कम हो जाएगा काम करने का. You will have deadlines pending everywhere. Um, right. And also, depression needs professional help. It needs counseling. Sometimes it also needs medication by a proper psychiatrist. And also sometimes depression में बहुत commonly there is self-harm also. Self-harm, self-harm में differentiate करना बहुत important है. If it's for temporary relief or if it's with an intent to die, which comes under ideation. So that is something which is why depression is more clinical at this point. So that needs proper counseling, psychotherapy, and some, if required, then we also give medication for depression. So that is a difference between sadness and depression. It's very different.
Understood. So is self-esteem also redirects to depression? For example, if somebody have low self-esteem, that person may get depression like sooner as compared to you can say somebody who is very normal. Is it a fact or is it a myth? What do you want to say about it?
Right. So having low self-esteem is one of the risk factors to developing depression. Depression and also other mental health conditions like any personality disorder, like borderline personality disorders, and
Hmm.
also suicidal ideation, eating disorders, body image disorders. So having lower self-esteem serves as a risk factor, not as a sole reason to developing depression. But definitely it is very commonly seen in people with depression. Because people with low self-esteem, as I mentioned, that they will tend to avoid good opportunities as well. Out of the, they feel very inadequate that I'm not worth this. Or, for example, let's say that the person who has low self-esteem, they tend to not make friends. That they feel like everyone will betray me, or I'm not worth good relationships. If I can't contribute something, why should I even try? Right. So it's like they kind of base their value around productivity or how much they are worth something. Yeah.
Right. So when we talk about this, you also communicated about body image issues. Right. So body image issues. Nowadays, people are insecure about their body, as well as they are not opening up about multiple things, what they are feeling. So, what do you want to communicate that people who are facing body image issues, how they can feel better?
So in order to understand body image issues, at first you have to acknowledge whatever we have been talking about body image. Because everyone has a different idea of what a
Hmm.
healthy body image should be. Right. On both Pele online, there was a body positivity movement. And a lot of people posted like their body pictures and all that. And a lot of them, there was this thing called fat positivity as well under that. And it was just people who were obese or overweight. They used to say that, hey, being fat is all right, being fat is okay. And then there was this whole controversy that, hey, being fat is not healthy. How are you promoting all of this, right? So, body image issues, at first, you have to address what's there beneath. First of all, someone who has body image issues, they will tend to hate themselves a lot. The idea of seeing yourself in dressed in some clothes that you don't like, or restricting certain foods. I'm not saying eat whatever you want, but also seeing food in a bad light, right? You're labeling food as bad and good food, which is not a very healthy approach. You just label food to higher nutrition and lower nutrition. That's how you see food. And also cheat meals are important if you're a fitness person and if you are very prone to binge eating. So also allowing your diet to be flexible is also very important. So for body image issues, just looking after your diet, then how you view your body, how you respect yourself, how you take care of yourself, regardless of how much you weigh or how tall are you, what you look like is very important.
Right. So, moving further, let's talk about LGBTQ community. So, multiple people are coming out and communicating that they are in this community, but they are not getting that support, especially mental health support. So they also used to face this, you can say, micro problems in dating, plus you can say getting a partner. So what do you want to communicate to them? How they can open up about mental health, how to overcome challenges from a psychology end uh, for dating and for you can say couples who belongs to LGBTQ.
So what I feel like that we won't be able to address any of these problems unless first we spread awareness in the society, right? Like we will have multiple problems like through the next 20, 50, 70 years, we will continue to have these problems. Unless we tell society we have equipped healthcare, for example, adoption rights for gay couples, then more accessible healthcare for couples who may have any sexual problems like AIDS, HIV, etc. I know there's a lot of stigma behind that as well since the 70s in US. Also, then we have laws for trans people, and I live in Mumbai, so it's very common to see trans people at signals at roads begging, and then also they are very involved in prostitution as well. So we need to look at that first. And why are they going into this work? Are our laws not very sufficient, or our families are still not aware that they abandon their own children, their own family, just to live? So right, that all of that, the core needs to be addressed first, just to make a systematic change. If I keep making laws, if I say that okay, Section 377, whatever, homosexuality is legal, but there's still that hate is still there at the core. It's still there. It's just the surface level change has been made, but at the core, the problem still exists. Like as a queer affirmative counselor, I still see people in the own field already have stigma against queer people. So at the core, we need to address that first, and then we can move on to deliver meaningful messages to people that if a queer person is struggling with something, then we can find a queer affirmative counselor. So we have a queer affirmative counselor network as well all over India. And then there are also, I think there are one or two helplines as well for queer people if they need it. Then there are communities across cities of queer people if they need help, if they need fundraising, if they need relocation. Also, I would like to add that according to research and other statistics, queer people are always at a higher risk of homelessness,
Hmm.
in attempts, substance abuse, drug addiction, surviving abuse, and having any mental health condition, basically.
Right, because I personally saw this coming. I personally talked to multiple people and we also analyzed this data. This is a fact that they are very prone to well-being issues. So if we talk further, what exactly queer affirmative counselor do? So can you just describe it? What exactly are the roles that uh, they used to play?
So every queer affirmative counselor follows a different approach. But what is the basic thing about them is that they know how LGBT community works, like the very basics about them, like the gender identities, gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, then pansexual, and all that. And also they are educated about social cultural context, like what is their history, where do they come from. For example, Pride was first in US and then UK, where the Stonewall riots happened. Marsha was there, and all of those icons were there. Then in India, also from the 90s, they started emerging. Gay men started emerging in Bombay itself, in Delhi. So they are more educated about that, and also they use very specific types of modalities for them. Like there is self-acceptance and teaching them tolerance if they live in an not a very healthy home, which is a very harsh reality for most of the queer people out there, that they don't have stable income. They live in dysfunctional environments. They have a lot of inner self-conflict as well. They have a lot of body issues. They have problems about sexuality, concerns about sexuality. Then they have health issues. So a queer affirmative counselor basically guides them through all of this by enhancing self-esteem, teaching coping skills. Um, right. And they're also very, sensitive about education. Like they know the pronouns and gender identities. So yes, that's what a pure affirmative counselor basically is.
Yes, so what is the importance of family and community in this particular, you can say, field? As a counselor, how community helped you, and how you are helping community.
Right. So community plays a very big role because when we have a client, one of the first things we ask them during the first session itself, that who do you live with at home? And sometimes they say that I live with my family, or I live with my parents, or I live with my siblings, etc., etc. And then a lot of times we find that उनके घर के अंदर ही people are enabling that issues that they have. For example, it can be emotional abuse or childhood trauma or anything as such. The child grows up witnessing things and then they think that that's love. They see their parents hitting each other, screaming at each other, them being assaulted in any way, and then that's their first idea of love. Because मैंने बचपन में वही देखा है, मुझे लगता है वही प्यार है. And then that plays a front seat in the future. I will get in I will get into an unhealthy relationship if my boyfriend abuses me and he does not respect me. Why? Because that's what I first saw when I was a kid, right? That's how it impacts, that's how community, social environment impacts mental health. And what I try to do from my side is that I've conducted workshops in communities like schools, colleges, and also in other low socioeconomic backgrounds to educate people about mental health and how important it is, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you come from. So we face a lot of problems in like the biggest barrier is accessibility. When we go to community workshops, there are people who come up to us and tell, like they say such things that it will shock you. They confess to being sexually abused and verbally abused, domestic violence, and they also tell us that we went to the police. The police did nothing. Like I knew this one woman who literally dragged her abusive drunk father to the police station to tell the police that hey, this is happening. Please do something about it. The police guy simply scolded him and he sent him away, telling him that "Okay, I'm giving you this number. Next time अगर कुछ होगा तो call कर लो." That's it. And the next time the domestic violence and abuse happened, he called the number and no one answered. So that's what we really face in communal settings. You're not going to hear about this when you see famous psychologists, celebrity psychologists talk about it's on glorified topics, ki hey, depression, anxiety, social media. But this is I worked in communal settings. I worked in chawls first years, and I know what really happens on field. So you're not going to hear this from every psychologist. This is the biggest challenge in community settings and what we face.
Right. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle that I personally feel. And I'm happy that government is also trying their things to fix the loopholes so that they can provide community supports. So, what is the importance of on-ground communities? Because having a virtual community can give you a virtual emotional support, right? That can temporarily be very good for you, but offline, on-ground, local communities, how much they are important, and what exactly is going on in terms of local communities.
Right. So local communities can help more in terms of accessibility. And I feel like if you connect online, then there will always be that one barrier of not being like around. If you're going to talk to me, I want it would be nice if you were around me, right? For better communication and to understand body language as well. Because a lot of times when people have mental health issues and I used to conduct support groups online with people who had depression or any mental health issue. And the biggest barrier was that they often had connectivity issues. And then they had to go to another location for the support group to get a good internet to connect. And also, just not being able to see them because they might have their camera off for whatever reason, or if they couldn't join the support group for any time changes or anything. So I think to remove those barriers, it's nice to have offline community groups, and also meetups are very nice if those groups can have once a month meetup or something to support each other, to discuss ideas, or to discuss just their lived experiences with things. Also,
Right,
organizing things also would help them encourage themselves. So.
right. And I personally also feel offline communities play a very important role to give immediate help and access. For example, if there are 20 people in the offline community, they are interrelated or have just a simple WhatsApp group, for an example. If somebody texts at 9 p.m. that, hey, I'm feeling like this, one person nearby can come up and they can just grab a coffee together and can get immediate help. So that can be way better. In virtually, like you don't have a human touch, right? So that's one thing, but virtually communities are doing good up to a level. Offline makes much more sense plus efforts. So that's one thing for sure. What are uh, the steps that if somebody is feeling low self-esteem, especially from the community, multiple people have the self-doubt and self-esteem issues. So what exactly they can do to make this work and figure it out?
So the first thing you can do is tell them that you're not alone, because a lot of times they tend to isolate themselves, isolate and
Hmm.
then feel alone because I don't have anyone. What's the point of talking anyways? No one is going to help me. That's what they feel like. So what a community can do is that they can offer them a shoulder that, hey, we hear you and we notice your absence and we know that you're not really having a good time. So we were concerned about you, and it would be great if you could talk to us about your feelings if you'd like. So yeah, they can do that, and then also encourage them to seek mental health counseling also. Counseling is also recommended for day-to-day issues like these, low self-esteem, self-doubt, problems with stress management, burnout, and basically all of this. So counseling is required in this, and counseling, why? Because to avoid anything in the future, because as I mentioned before, low self-esteem is a risk factor to developing depression in the future. So counseling is also encouraged, right? There are also pro bono counselors out there if the person has financial constraints. So what a pro bono counselor does is that they charge very less compared to regular charges for a session. For example, if I want counseling, um, the basic rate for one session is 600 rupees, 600 to 800 to 1000. But a pro bono counselor will only take 300, 400 per session, 1 hour का session होता है. So I do have a network of pro bono counselors where we share referrals, and then depending on location or accessibility and cases, we take up clients. So that's good for increasing accessibility. So that's what we can do.
Right, and even this pro bono counselors help, uh, you can say, people like students or people who are not yet employed or employed but they don't have budget. It is a great initiative from the psychologist community to help, you can say, and to give the community back. This is one thing that I love about this psychology community, where people are having a dedicated slots weekly for pro bono sessions. They are having it, and I personally love it. Multiple people are getting support. Especially, I personally know multiple students who are getting supported by this. This is a great initiative for sure. So, if anybody wants a pro bono session but don't know where to get it, how they can find pro bono slots.
Right. So that is a big challenge if someone doesn't know or doesn't have any leads as how to. So what they can do is, for example, I have helped many people through many social media platforms, even Discord. If you know Discord, I have helped many people on Discord in the servers I am in Mumbai and India to get pro bono access to counseling. As let's be very honest, mental health care is not very accessible.
Hmm.
I, as a psychologist, I will admit that no one is going to pay 1,000 rupees for a session unless they can afford it, unless they have a very good income, unless their parents are handling their financial responsibilities. Let's be very honest here. So it's important to be transparent in your approach. So that is why pro bono is there. So if someone doesn't know, they can Google pro bono counseling. And if any results pop up, that's good because people do post on LinkedIn about it a lot. In my community, like a lot of people post about pro bono counseling and pro bono resources. There are pro bono resources out there online. If you just Google it, pro bono counseling in India or online. So I think so. I don't remember, but I think there is a spreadsheet out there for public accessibility with all the resources of counselors, location, price per session, concerns. So I think that's there out there. It should be. I'm not sure, but that's how someone can get access through pro bono counseling.
All right, and that's a great initiative for pro bono sessions and for the community, I believe. So if somebody from the community wants to get a session with you, regardless of it is pro bono or regardless of it is, you can say, for depression, anxiety, or just want to have a counseling session with you, how to book a session with you?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or through my email or number. That's how I usually do it. I have my profile and my contact details are there. So that's how I do it. And I also work freelance with two, three organizations like Healism, Mindmates, then Learn Psychology, then Shades of You, Mind Mining. So I work freelance with these organizations to provide counseling and also, when required, then mental health workshops as well.
Understood. So these organizations help you get clients because they are the front face of it, and then you get leads, right? So these organizations also have a lot of importance in this particular field because they are on ground and try to run ads or just to aware people, create content for it, right? So uh, going towards the last phase of the podcast, what do you want to communicate to community people from LGBTQ community to face and to fight with self-esteem if they have these issues, and what exactly they can do to accept therapy as their next step.
Right, so I would like to tell them that it's definitely not your fault at all that you feel this way. There, you feel like sometimes you do feel like the whole world is against you. You can't trust anyone. You feel like that, hey, this is my identity, but I can't wear this. I am a boy, but if I wear girls' clothing, I'm going to feel like, hey, what is this? So it's definitely not your fault, and it's something that society needs to accept. And the second thing is that you have to try and learn to manage your own emotions. And I know it's very hard to get out of your shell, and you don't have to do it alone. You need help to do that. You need someone to hold your hand, and you need counseling as well. Counseling is very important to find yourself, getting to know yourself again. There are queer affirmative psychologists out there who have been trained in this specifically, who I have confidence in will guide you and will serve you right and address your problems. And being queer is a superpower, I feel like. Even though you feel like society does not really accept me, you feel like the laws don't support me, but it's something that we don't acknowledge that you have something that others don't. You can use it as a superpower. You know more about yourself, you know more about the suffering, which I'm not glorifying that, but you know things which you see things which others don't. So that's a very nice thing, and it can be used as a strength. What if it's someone's weakness can be your strength? So look at this in this way, right? So that's what I would like to say. And counseling therapy is very important for you so that you can continue your journey. You can grow more as a person. And there is no right age for queer people, especially queer people, to start again. I know people in their 50s, 60s who have come out as gay, as lesbians, married people who have come out. I know people at 50s who have transitioned. So it never ends. Like your life is it's full of exploring, and queer people start life very late. At first, we are just forced into binaries that hey, gay, you're straight, marry a woman, marry a man. Don't wear this, don't wear that, don't cut your hair this way. Um, so it's okay to start again. It's okay to start exploring yourself at any time. There's no limit, and I won't tell you to be yourself because that's a very hard piece of advice. Being yourself is just it's not just a word. It takes a lot of practice. So what you can do is slowly start embracing your flaws. That hey, maybe I'm not fine with my body, but slowly maybe I'll be comfortable with other areas of my life. Maybe I'll slowly put in some work into my health, my emotional well-being, get into good company. Having a healthy community around you is also very important, having supportive friends. Because a lot of us have not been blessed with good families like others. So, right. So, having a very good community is very important. Having people who support you, who encourage you. So, that is also very important.
That's a great advice. Community importance and self-belief and loving yourself, the core fundamentals of society, what I believe for a happy society. So I loved the conversation, Sakshi, and I hope many people will start accepting therapy after this podcast and will surely be moving towards, you can say, their self-love journey.